you want me to? We're just
talking.
Talking to you.
Literally like what we were just doing.
Okay, good.
Only.
Just making sure.
Yeah. If you need to make a point to anyone, look right
I will.
underneath
I will
that
look
light.
right there.
Great.
And
Outstanding.
stare into it. Cool.
So I'm going to try to slate, and we'll see if we can make this a thing. Hi, everybody. My name is Brandon Durkees. I work here at the Bird Comedy Theater, and this is our attempt at a podcast with video on it. Ooh. We're going to try talking to some of the wonderful people that work here for us, and one of those people is sitting right here. It's MacKenzie Reed. Wow. Oh, wow.
Yay!
Now, MacKenzie, if you could just into the
Yes.
camera tell people what it is you do for us here.
I'm the music director. I coach the musical improv house team. I teach musical improv classes. I'm also on the cast.
Yeah, wonderful. Now, you've been doing that since we opened. You've been with us.
Yes.
So like a year and 9 months at this point.
I know.
So long.
I know.
Tell me just a little bit, like, what's the team? Have you decided on a new name for the team yet?
We were literally talking about that with a few minutes left, and we're now in the third round of house teams, as you know, and the first two rounds, the name was a pun on a musical, so we were Bye Bye Birdies.
I love puns.
I don't know, I get mixed messages about your love of puns. We were Footgoose last round, and so at the end of this rehearsal, we just wrapped a rehearsal, and I just planted the seed. I said, let's think about it. I still have the list of things we brainstormed. Oh my gosh, a bird on a hot tin roof, even though it's not a musical, but bird spray was a contender.
I can't put bird spray on a flyer. I can't in good conscience.
What I love about bird spray, though, is like, just the vitriol it inspires, because some people just are like, this is amazing, and then the people who are not on board just like hate it. It does evoke this, it evokes like a
Well, I mean, you probably are thinking like two very distinct things coming from the bird. This poor little guy, look at him.
Yeah.
It's either puking or under the table.
Right.
Don't look. That's awesome. You do a great job. We love everything you do with those teams. Names notwithstanding. So you have been doing music a long time.
Yes.
I don't mean to make that seem like you're old or anything, but like your life.
Right, yeah.
Comparatively. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, well, I started taking piano lessons when I was 5. I had my first public performance at age 7. I was a musician first, and so my undergraduate degree is in piano performance. I concertized. That was my first career choice. I wanted to be a concert pianist. So I like the piano is my first love, and. Also, when I was 16, I started studying pipe organ. That's been a major way I've supported myself, is playing organ for church, which is a whole other sphere of my life. Oh my goodness.
Not a lot of bird sprays at the church.
Well, yes, but in a different way.
Got it.
It's like, yes. Let's leave that there. No, but I got to enjoy a really great performing career. I concertized. I gave recitals in Germany and Tokyo and Iceland, and throughout the United States, both on piano and organ. I was an organist at like the National American Choral Director Association conference. I've played at National Methodist Church in Washington, D.C. So I got to have those bigger experiences. And so it was interesting, though, because I set out to achieve a goal, and I basically achieved it. And then I was like, this isn't satisfying me, because I just... I realized that preparing music for a recital, even if it was music I really enjoyed, it just felt like a chore. And so I wanted to have a more creative life.
Yeah.
So I migrated west. I lived in Los Angeles for 5 years. I got my master's at CalArts in performance and composition. And that was where I started experimenting with improv in like a experimental new music sense, because CalArts is a big experimental new music, new art.
Bunch
kind
of
school.
hippies.
A bunch of yes, for those who are not familiar, and yeah. So I think, and that was the beginning of really where I am now is just this need to be creative, and so so really it's been about like me trying different things and not really feeling like I squarely fit in anywhere, because I thought, okay, cool, I'm going to be a new music person, I'm going to be an experimental person, and then I just was like, I hate this, and so really I think what the through line with all of this is that I had always had a foot in theater because of my playing. I accompanied a lot of musicals. I did a lot of vocal coaching for actors because when you're a pianist, that's a main way you make money besides church organ is you play for people. And when you play for people ask you questions like, did I sing the right note, or how does this sound, and if you want to be valuable, then you figure out like a damn good answer. So yeah, but I think like that was the thing I realized, is that I really loved that bridge between music and theater. And then when a friend of mine at CalArts asked me to play for a music improv workshop he was teaching, I said no. I said, I'm not that kind of improviser. I can't, blah, blah, blah. And he peer pressured me into it anyway. It was one of those things where like I said no, and then in the next moment I was doing it, and I don't really remember what mind trick he played on me.
Yeah. That happens.
Yeah, but I got there, and I was like, oh, it's just like playing for musicals, except I'm making it up.
Yeah.
Okay, and then a switch flipped.
I'm just pulling on all of the experience I have with every musical I've ever played with, and I'm making a pastiche of it.
Yes.
It's just like improv without a piano,
Yes.
as it turns out.
No, it's so true. It's
Yeah.
so true. Yeah.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
No, and that's a lot. You're impressive. I dropped out of community college. Is what I did.
Well, but it's interesting. It's interesting you say that though, because that is something I think about a lot. Like on paper, I'm freakishly overqualified to be like dumb on stage. You know what I mean? But here's the thing though. Like number one, I have realized that even though I have like the CV and everything, there is so much that I have learned by being here and doing the thing. And specifically, I really had to learn how to let go of a lot of that academic background just to relate to people, because if you stay in this world, like if you're gonna play with other professional musicians who have similar training, then fine. But I really love connecting with people. I really love bridging connections like across communities, and I love collaborative work. And so that has actually been really valuable to me. Is I have that background that is my foundation. It's my first language, but also not having so much of an ego about it. And also, God, like, if you want to like not have an ego, or if you have an ego and you want it to be beaten down, just like do improv on stage and fail a bunch of times, and then you'll get over yourself.
Do you remember your first failure in improv?
Oh God. Oh, you know what I do? Well, I don't know if it was my first one, but I remember a notable one, and it was just a class, but it was a drop-in class, and I don't remember what we were working on, but it was a scene that was being set up, and it was clearly the game was these kids who were excited for Christmas, and oh my God, I hope that nothing delays Christmas. I hope Christmas comes on time. Hey, Christmas better come on time. Nothing better get in the way of that. And I walked in, and like literally, it was there for me on a pillow. And I walked in and I was like, I'm your Uncle Jerry, blah, blah, blah. And I just saw their faces just fall.
They're just beating you in the head with a hammer with it. You're like, well, let me do this.
I know, exactly. And like, and it's like, it's burned in my memory just because I just remember the second I did that, I was like, that was so not what was helpful. And so, but it's good though.
Yeah.
It's good because like, what better way to learn game than when you fail at it?
And at least it was in a class where
That's true.
where it's I mean, not to say I've seen improv on a stage that was worse than that. Don't you worry. Not here though, ever. No, but like that's the beautiful thing about the class. It's the place to do it, and you learned.
No,
it sticks with you.
No, it does. It does. It stays with you. And I think that's such a valuable thing that I feel like as a society we're losing. I think there's so much concern for making sure everyone's comfortable and making sure everyone feels like they can have the experience they want, which is good. It's so valuable. But also I think sometimes we forget how important it is just to stumble through something and kind of suck at it and be uncomfortable. And I mean, some of my best learning has happened on the drive home from a class or a show where I'm replaying everything and I'm feeling mortified or I'm like, oh crap, why did I do that? Why did I say that? But over time, that really is part of the education. And I think that's the difference between getting a degree in piano where you do all of your stuff is like isolated in a practice room and you wait until it's perfect
right
before
there. Look
it's
at
like
it.
do it
Yeah.
And you're judged by like how well you adhere to like what's on the page and what the performance practice is. But with improv that's not the same way. Like your practice is out loud.
Yeah.
It's in front of your peers, in front of an audience.
Team sport,
It is, yeah.
I remember my first failure. Well, it probably wasn't my first failure. I'm sure it happened before and it's happened again.
Right.
But I got in through like sketch. So improv wasn't necessarily a thing that I had training in beyond a couple acting classes, which do like a warm-up game every now and again. Like you're going to go up there and you're going to play how are you or what are you doing? Looking at the person. We're just in a line and we're doing back and forth. I got up there, they were doing a scene and they had mentioned a character. It wasn't somebody we needed to cut to in any way. And I just yelled, cut to Pickles, the God. And I just like got on top of nobody would cut me either. I was just up there doing like this, like, I am Pickles. Nothing. Nobody wanted a damn thing. I had no sideline support. And what a teacher that was. Like, that's the day I learned you can cut yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and I think also it is helpful for your scene partners and for you as a scene partner, like to see that if somebody is drowning, go save them. And it's interesting because I think that's also important for an audience to see, because I firmly believe that you treat your audience like geniuses and poets. And so they can perceive when something's going wrong. Like they can tell, like, oh, that person, they established their name was Adrian and they just called them Marcy or whatever. Like they know. Yeah. So I believe like when the audience sees you working that out, I think that's actually very elevating for them. So it's kind of like watching a tightrope walker. Yeah. And when you see the tightrope walker falter a little bit and then they recover, you have this feeling of elevation, this feeling of relief. And so I think that has ramifications as well, just for the community, for how we get along. And even watching, even within a scene, like watching something get worked out, because we've all had those moments as improvisers that we blurt out something, where it's like, oh crap, that was kind of offensive. Like maybe I didn't mean it that way, but it came out, there it is, we all heard it. Yep. So now we need to work that out. And so by calling it out, by working through it, however we do. I think that's so important in a society that I think is really struggling with conflict resolution.
Oh yeah, it's to use your metaphor, it's a tightrope walk right now. There's two sides of it, and you're gonna fall either way into one side or the other.
Yeah.
But I think you do a great job with your musical people, and I think you do a great job on stage with it. Like,
oh, thank you.
I know you have said before, like, music is kind of your forte, but you're really coming into your own as a performer.
Oh, thank you.
Especially some of like the more like, I mean, this is music related, but some of like the bitty stuff that you've been doing in our like one night only shows. You did it in like our Golden Birds thing.
Oh yes.
I loved it. Oh, I can't remember what show it was. It might have been the Halloween show, but you did like a choral arrangement of Holy Diver.
Oh yes.
It was pretty awesome.
Yes, yes. You know, it's funny you say that, because that is the other piece. Like I absolutely love improv. I also love composing music for sketch shows like that. I love it because it is like the perfect confluence of all my skills. Like I feel, even though I'm sure my composition teachers would be, well, I don't know, maybe they wouldn't be terribly surprised. But maybe like, oh, we didn't expect you to use your skills this way, but it's a great way to use my composition degree. Right. But no, I love that. I love the challenge of, okay, this is the kind of show it is. Like the Golden Bird Awards it's a fake awards show. I had a movie title and then a synopsis, and then thinking about what kind of song would go with that. Like that problem solving part of it is so fun. And I'm also a person, I really believe in the product. So I mean, the process is very important too, right. But I also will, when I'm creating something like that, I will do whatever I need to do to let the thing be what it wants to be. Like I believe that your work takes on a life of its own after a while. And so yeah, like, and it's funny you bring up Golden Bird Awards, because that was actually that was probably the most uncomfortable I've been in the performance of it, because I was playing this like bubblegum pop star, which is so not me. I'm like, I mean, when I did do voice training, I'm like more of a dramatic mezzo. Like I'm a very like serious, like grounded person, kind of. And so, but it needed to be that. It needed to be that. And so I was like, okay, that's what it's going to be. And so, and it was a good challenge, again, like working through discomfort, and putting yourself out there, being so vulnerable, like doing the thing that you're like, I didn't train for this, but here it is, everybody. Here
Making it happen.
Hey, you, stay here with me. Get in my contraption of love. Woo!
Not to harp more on your education thing, but you are becoming a doctor.
Not a real, well.
Not a real doctor.
Not a medical doctor.
Yeah, you're not working like 12-hour days every day of your life. It's not real.
Yes, I am working on a PhD in music education at the University of Kansas. I'm in my second year. And actually, it's really funny because I love education. I did not set out in life planning to get a doctorate, because generally people who get doctorates are people who want to work in colleges. I love what I do here. I love doing what I do as a performer. But the opportunity came up. It kind of just fell in my lap, actually. And so I was like, well, I'd be stupid not to do it. And so so it's been really cool to see, though, how closely related my doctoral work and what I do here is. And part of that was my choice. Like I before I set foot in the building, I made myself a promise. I like looked in the mirror and gave myself a pep talk, and I was like, okay, MacKenzie, if you ever feel like this is taking away from what you love to do, we're gonna walk away. Like I literally had this talk with myself, because I've just spent too much of my life you know, like we were talking about earlier, like people pleasing
Yeah.
and you know, kind of staying with something because I felt like I had to. But it's been so positive, and I've been able to focus on music improv as a research topic. And actually, at this point, my major papers will for sure reflect that. And what we were talking about earlier, the possible impact of musical improv on problem solving, on like teaching problem solving. That's an intersection I'm really interested in. And so there's a strong possibility my dissertation will be a grounded theory on musical improv, because there's actually no empirical research on musical improv. There's a little bit on non-singing improv.
A little bit.
A little bit. And it's mostly stuff like, there was a study with medical residents who took an improv class, and they found that it increased their clinical empathy. There's other, in like organizational behavior journals, there's stuff about participating in improv increases like problem solving and communication and flexibility and listening. So we have some of those bits, but and there's certainly stuff on music improv, like jazz improvisation and things like that. So that's a lot of my work, is I'm taking all of those adjacent fields and making some, just making some, you know, some arguments about like what I think is going on.
Theorizing, testing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Science.
It is. It's very scientific, especially when there's a phenomenon going on that hasn't yet been explained in that way. Then that's the opportunity, is you get to kind of make a claim about like what you think is happening, and then you get to test it, and then other people come along and then they test it, or maybe they're like, that's garbage. Here's what I think it is. But that's research, and
Right.
that's our duty as researchers.
That's how knowledge grows. My
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so what? You have two more years? One more year?
I have one more year after this, if I stay on time, which I'm going to stay on time.
Dr. MacKenzie Reed after that.
Oh my God. Yeah, so the first 2 years are coursework, and then the third year is dissertation. I'm also a graduate teaching assistant, so I have a teaching load as well. I'm actually teaching more than I'm being a student, which is a little weird, but it's good. There's a lot of education in like doing the thing.
Oh, yeah.
So that's okay. But so next year I'll still have my teaching assignments, but then I'll be presumably working on dissertation. So that's what I'm working toward.
Exciting.
I'm like, you know what I'm looking forward to?
What's that?
I have specific things, like whenever I feel like exhausted and like down on myself because I have an insane schedule. I'm looking forward to the jam where I can put doctor.
Yeah.
I've already planned it out. Like as soon as it's official, Dr. MacKenzie Reed, and I'm just waiting for that.
I'm excited to put that on the website.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
It's a selling point, you know.
Yeah.
Not that she's not qualified right now. But you know, you put the D and the R before it. My God.
That's so funny. That's so funny because in the comedy world, it's not. I mean that's unusual. Like
It's a novelty.
It
like,
is
to be a doctor.
Yeah. Well, usually it's a person who they got a doctorate in something else, and then improv is like their passion thing that they do on the side, and and so I think for me the difference will be the doctorate I'm getting is really rooted in what I'm doing here. I'm like my colleagues, like they know about this. Like they know about all the things that I do here because that was the promise I made to myself. And when I was working in church music for so long, I felt like I had to keep parts of my life really separate.
Oh yeah.
Because I was a struggling artist. I needed the income. Like I wasn't crazy about churches finding out, like, for instance, I had played music for an adult puppet show the night before, or I had been like gigging at a bar until 3 a.m. or something like that. So that I'm at the phase in my life where I'm like, I need to be myself in all times and all places.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I think you're doing great.
Thanks.
No problem.
Yay.
So we're not going to talk forever here. We're gonna kind of circle it around to the end here. Something I'd like to know, and this is all an experiment. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. So I would love to know, like, just top of your head, what was one of your favorite things that you've seen that you were not involved in, like up there?
God, okay. One of my favorite things ever, it was the Birdstock show, which I was in, but watching other people. So it was a show. It was a music comedy show. It was the idea that it was like Woodstock. So music.
I'll put a clip if I remember.
But I remember what it was. So the very first one. Okay, again, church organist geek. The very first Birdstock took place on Easter Vigil, which is the night before Easter, and so it was Phil. Phil's act. I'm blanking on his last name.
Morris.
Okay, I started to say Phil Collins. I was like, that's not right.
God, I wish we could get Phil Collins here. Oh my God. No improv that night. We're listening to Genesis hits. We're listening to the Tarzan soundtrack. My God.
Yes, but he did this solo musical act where he sang, it was Highway to the Manger Zone.
Highway to the Manger Zone. I can ride to the Manger Zone. Now everybody, come on, give it up for Jesus. Yeah.
He's risen.
I know, like I lost my mind. I was like screaming, like I lost my mind just because, like, again, in and of itself, it was amazing, but just that intersection was so cool. And I remember I like went up to him afterwards and I was like, I don't know if you know this, but it's Easter Vigil tonight. And he was like, oh, well, I know Easter's tomorrow, but yeah. It was just, oh my God. But I have so many moments like that. Like, and a lot of my favorites are even just like small things. Just some way that a group mindy thing happened that was just like really harmonious and beautiful. And and I'm sure as soon as I walk out of here, I'm going to think of like 14.
That's okay.
More.
That's okay. We've done a lot of shows at this point.
Yes.
6 shows every weekend, ladies and gentlemen. birdkc.com. Now say one that you hated. Counterintuitive to the entire thing that we do. Let's just talk shit now.
No.
You
know, it's funny you say that though, because even with even things I've seen, either individual acts or whatever, that maybe I didn't think were as successful. I will say though, every single thing I've seen here has so much heart, and everybody like clearly having a specific idea, something they want to achieve, and everything. And so I think that's why I love being here. Like this, no matter like the day I've had, how exhausted I am, because I'm often exhausted when I walk in here.
I hope you get some sleep tonight.
Yes, I hope so too. The moment I walk in, I feel energized. And really, I think that's what's so special about this place is that it is bonkers. Like it is experimental. There is all kinds of stuff going on. You do see lots of different kinds of performers and lots of different styles, and so everybody who's here, you can tell they care.
Yeah.
You can tell they want to do their best. And that is what I love about this place. And I will take that over maybe like kind of like paralleling with my former life as a concert pianist, where like perfection was the goal at all costs, but it was kind of empty. I love the messiness, I mean, and we do put on like polished shows that are good and everything, so I don't want it to sound like but
look, people are going to forget their lines.
Yeah.
We're going to throw eggs around. Milk is in a lot of this.
And like, wasn't sausage thrown at a a thing?
The Trucktoberfest that just happened.
Yes, I heard about that.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We're just, we got hours to fill. We're going to film it.
Yeah, but I think, again, like that's the spirit improv, even like when scripted comedy is done in an improv theater, that's what you're getting is this, you know, you're constantly kind of like living on the edge, you know. And it's just, I feel alive when I'm a part of it.
Aw.
Yeah.
Aw. MacKenzie.
You validated me. I'm going to validate you.
I don't need that. I'm fine. Well, great. Let's, I guess, wrap this up. We've been talking for a little while here, and I don't want this podcast to be Joe Rogan length. So, tell that camera about your internet life and where you are if you want people to look at you.
Oh, let's see. I'm on Instagram at MKZReed, REED. I have a website, MackenzieReed.com. I'm on Facebook as well. And
Like all of us over 30.
Yeah. I don't even want to share. You know what? I'm not going to share how long I've been on Facebook. Like, it's
2005 for me, which was like the year. Oh, you got the year before. You got the college invite.
Can we just do a whole episode talking about like what Facebook, like it was so
Wasn't
different. It was so different.
Well, I mean, like for me, you were in my class, and I can't get your phone number, but I can be your Facebook friend.
Yes. Well, and because it was college specific, because my undergrad was a smaller school, and so it really did feel like an extension of the community, like it didn't feel so like separate the way it does now. I will say I did learn a valuable lesson about being careful what you post online. Because quick story, the dorm I was staying in, one year some jerk was pulling the fire alarm like at 3 a.m. like every night for like a week. And so back in those days, you could Facebook groups were specific to like your college network, and they were really fun because they could like comment on anything that was happening. And so sure enough, there was a group that popped up, and it was like, I'm trying not to curse on here, but we hate the people who have been pulling the fire alarm or whatever. So I made a post where I said, let's carry bats and wait for this person. And sure enough, like a few days later, I get the college newspaper, which a newspaper is a printed.
I think they know what the newspaper is.
And front page, there was a front page story about it. Quotes, MacKenzie Reed, we should carry bats away for this person. And I was like furious. And then everybody was like, you posted it. And
that's not a quote, though. That's personal. That's bad journalism is what that is. They couldn't call you to get that quote?
Right, yeah. Right, well, and actually, in retrospect, probably it would have been better. They had reached out and said, like, I mean, well, they were allowed. Like, I guess the point, like, they were allowed.
Oh, yeah,
it
terms
was, like,
of service were ridiculous.
Exactly. But yeah, I agree. Like, you know, I think a journalist, you know, could have been like, hey, do you want to elaborate that? Do you want to amend that? But no, you know, and it's so bonkers these days, like the kinds of things that people will like admit online, and then they're somehow shocked, you know, when it, you know, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but that was it. They did eventually catch the person, and I guess a campus safety person was fired because after a while they stopped calling the fire department, which is illegal. So anyway, it was a thing, but it got worked out. It stopped.
Golly.
So
just to help illustrate the point of how different it was back then, and this is not just Facebook, this is just kind of the world in general. When I moved into my freshman dorm, Lewis Hall, University of Kansas, we bought airsoft guns. And you could just have airsoft guns on the campus because, you know, it was 2005.
Yeah.
And we eventually got in trouble because, like, we had a war with the people across the way. It was all in good fun, you know. We're shooting each other with little pellets. I mean, that's kind of weird at a point. But, you know, we'd get on Facebook and we'd just be like, when you come out of your room, I'm going to shoot you. And we're just posting that. We're going to break into your dorm and we're going to shoot you in the face. And I imagine that gets you on like all sorts of lists now.
Oh my God! Yeah.
I'm probably on lists from that.
Well, yeah. Well, and honestly, I'm probably on a list just because as a writer, there's so many things I've had to research that I'm sure if I'm not on a list somewhere.
The amount of Nazi flags I've had to buy for like theater just through my own name. I am, I probably can't leave the country technically at a point. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Well, so what? We can, if not just Fridays and Saturdays sometimes in the normal show, you're also going to be third Saturdays at the new Birdhouse.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, you can come see the team. Team name TBA. Some kind of a pun on a musical, most likely.
Great. Great. That's what we need is more bird puns here.
It's on brand.
Yeah.
No, the team is so. I love it. I love the team. Like they are all just wonderful people who just are not afraid to be like big and loud and dumb.
Oh,
you know, I think as you know, the hardest thing when you're teaching or coaching improv is when people hold back and you're trying to like pull it out of them. They are wonderful and I love their enthusiasm, and they constantly surprise me as well. Like, because I always come in with a lesson plan, but there is always something that happens where I make a discovery, where I'm like, I did not anticipate that outcome, and I love it, and I always try to point that out, and then I write it down, and then I claim credit for it later.
Yeah, I mean, people will harp about this on improv all the time, but like especially after coming out of the pandemic, I've noticed like just like the support goes, it's so much more supportive, for lack of a better word there.
Yes.
It's just people want everyone to succeed. There's not that there's not ego, because there always is, because we have to go in front of people and have them laugh at us. But but like just like it's supportive, it's great, and your team and all of our teams, but we're talking about yours right now. They work so well together. They push towards the common goal, and it's always very good. And you have a lot of them, which is weird and able to handle that you can do that. I know
it's really cool. And that's something that I love about this place too, is just in the short time that I've been a part of this place, how much the music improv community has grown. Because as you may know, America, that's a niche thing. And so, although my belief, I believe anybody can do music. I believe anybody can sing. I really believe that. And so I love that it's getting more people. I love that it's growing. I love teaching it, especially to beginners. I love teaching people who think they can't sing, who think they can't do it, because you can.
Not me. I can't do it.
Yes, you can.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
I can't do it.
Yes, you can.
I don't know.
No, they're wonderful. And it's gotten larger, and that's great. I'm here for it.
Awesome, and we're here for you.
Aww.
My God. Anything else you want to say to cameras?
Come to the Bird. This place is wonderful. Just go to the website. Check out the calendar of shows. Like, just show up on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night.
Sometimes Sunday, sometimes Wednesday.
So yeah, exactly. No, this is a really good place. So I.
Well, you're a really good place, MacKenzie.
Wait.
All right, I'm gonna cut it there.
Yay!
I think that works.
Yeah.
Today's episode of the Bird Comedy Theater podcast was brought to you by the Bird Comedy Theater, the Kansas City Crossroads comedy destination, featuring improv, sketch, stand-up, and more every week in the historic Hemingway Building, 103 West 19th Street, Kansas City, Missouri 64108. www.thebirdkc.com. Give your week the bird.